been playing with my frog, Freddie. I love frogs. I love how frogs are made. Generally around this time of year, maybe a bit later, more May, June, when it's a bit warmer, you might start seeing tadpoles. Tadpoles are what frogs are before they become frogs. It's so clever. Shall I show you the life cycle? So it starts off like this. This is called frog spawn, and it's basically lots and lots and lots of eggs all mixed together. Frog spawn. And then they hatch and they turn into a tadpole. Can you see? It's got a nice long tail. They're what you see in ponds. I love tadpoles. And then as the tadpole gets bigger and bigger and bigger, turns into a mini little frog. But not quite yet, because it's still a tadpole, because it still has its tail. And then a bit later, it turns into a frog. Do you want to see Freddie? Hang on. So I have to spray my hands a little bit, because frogs, they absorb things through their little feet. Freddie is probably one of the most beautiful frogs ever. He's super, super friendly. Fred is so cool because Fred changes colour. So at the moment he's looking quite green, isn't he? But he can look really, really brown. You gonna say hello, Freddie? Look at his gorgeous eyes and his little feet. Shall we see if Freddie wants to eat a Morio worm? He loves them. Let's see if he wants to eat one. These are usually a little treat for him. Can I eat one? Freddie? Good boy. Oh, he enjoyed that Morio worm, didn't he? Was that yummy? So this week we've looked at loads of bugs, haven't we, that live on land. And today we've looked at Freddie, and he comes in ponds. Well, you find tadpoles in ponds. I wonder if there's any other kind of bugs or creatures that live in ponds. Or in water, actually. That would be really interesting. Who would know? Do you know who has a pond? Miss Anna. I'm going to call her. Hang on.
Oh, Mrs. Wilson's calling me. Hi, Mrs. Wilson.
Hi, Miss Anna.
How are you?
Well, me and Freddie, my frog, were just, hanging around, and we were just wondering if you knew of any other animals that lived in water. Any bugs that we've been looking at.
Oh yes, ponds are full of life. I'm currently just with my turtles.
Turtles? I don't have turtles. I'd love to know more about turtles because I really like them. Do they live in your pond?
Now they like warm water, so they don't live in the ponds, they live in big tanks instead.
Wow, they're amazing. So they're a bit like Billy my tortoise, aren't they, Miss Anna? But they live in water and Billy doesn't. That's so cool. You know, in your pond, Miss Anna, do you have any, bugs? I love bugs.
There are so many different animals in there because it's a great habitat for bugs that like water. But we need to get some equipment first before we go. And then, Mrs. Wilson, I can show you some pond dipping.
You can find bugs from pond dipping? What's pond dipping? That sounds really fun. How do you do that?
Okay, so I'm now at my pond. As you can see, there's lots of vegetation around it. That means lots of bushes, lots of grass and lots of leaves for animals to explore and hide in. And over here, I've got some things that I will need for my pond dipping. I've got a little mat to sit on so that my knees don't hurt. And I've got my pond dipping sheet so I can see what animals I might have caught. I've got 2 buckets of water and I've got a net. So when I catch animals in my net, I can then put them in my buckets of water. Okay, so I'm ready to do some pond dipping now with my net. When we use our net in the pond, we try and draw an 8 with it, so that everything we catch stays in there. Because if I did this and then pulled it back again, all the fish would come back out, or all the animals would come back out. So I have to do this motion to keep all the bugs in there. Let's have a go. Okay, here is what I collected in my first dip. And you can see I got some weeds in there, and I can also see some little animals. So down here we've got this animal. Let's have a look at our sheet to see which one I have caught. I think I have caught a water boatman. So here he is. He's got these two arms here that help him move through the water. Let's have another look. He looks just like a baby. He's very little. And then I think I've also caught here. I bet you can all tell what this is. That looks like a water snail. He's hiding in his shell. Okay, I'm going to put my net back in the water and see what else I can get. Let's see. I'm going to draw my 8. Okay. Oh, I've got a lot of weed there. So I'll have a look. I'm going to bring it back over to my tubs. Ooh, look at all that weed. Ooh, very slimy. This one I've caught here. He is a pond skater and he floats on top of the water. Okay, so we found a little baby newt. And he's a very tiny one. You can see him scurrying. He looks a little bit like a lizard. But they live in water or damp places. So that means somewhere where it's a little bit wet. So under a big rock or under a bit of wood. If I move, I tap on the side, you can see how quickly they can move. Misty's having a little look in the pond, see what she can see. Misty often likes to jump in the pond when she gets very hot after a walk, and then it makes her very smelly. This is Julie, she's an expert pond dipper. She's seeing what she can catch now in the pond. She's gone quite deep to see if there's anything living at the bottom. Oh, look at all that weed. Yeah, we think we might have found a leech. And we didn't know we had these in our pond. You can see it moving here. It looks a little bit like a worm. Now, leeches aren't always the nicest animal. They can help us sometimes. But if you get them on your body, they can drink your blood. We have a look in this bucket here. We can see we found a big newt. And this one's spotty. Do you know what newts eat? It's not very nice. Their favourite food is tadpoles. So we did have some tadpoles this year, but all the newts ate them. That's okay because newts are important too. And some newts are very rare and you can find them in our ponds in England. So if we find those newts, you have to take really good care of them. Okay, so it's just starting to rain. So Mrs. Wilson, I'm going to put everything we found in the pond back in there. It's really important to return them to their home.
Miss Anna, I have loved seeing the pond and all the different little creatures.
Yeah, it's amazing how some animals can float on top of the water and others can swim inside. I wonder if objects do the same. Maybe we could have an experiment and see what objects we can find and which ones sink and which ones float.
Thanks. Freddie, say goodbye to Miss Anna. Bye, Miss Anna. Ribbit, ribbit.
Bye, Mrs. Wilson. Okay, so here I've got my experiment. I've got a bowl of water. I've got my chart. And I've got 2 objects. And I'm going to see if they sink or float. So ink, sink, or oat, float. First, let's do the bottle top. Let's see. Let's predict what's going to happen first. So I think this one might float. Let's have a look. Oh yes, it's floating on top of the water. So I can write here that it's going that the bottle top floats. B o b ot. Toot b ot. All top t op. Okay, and now let's have a look at our stone. I predict that the stone is also going to float. Let's have a look. Oh! The stone went right to the bottom. The stone sank. So stones sink. So let's write stone. S-T-O-N, 4 sounds. And it's a split digraph. O in it. I wonder if you could do that experiment at home and see what sinks and what floats. I can't wait to see your experiments. Bye.